Alex Hormozi said something recently that completely changes how you should think about hiring. And that is to stop thinking in roles and start thinking in workflows. And he's right about that. But he stopped one step short of the part that actually matters for you right now. Because the moment you start thinking this way, it also tells you exactly where AI belongs in your business. And almost nobody is connecting those two things. So if you're a business owner staring down your next hire, then this video is going to change that decision for you. I'm going to show you exactly what Hormozi meant, the part he left out, and the one question you can ask before you ever hire again that will save you from filling a seat you don't actually need. And stick with me because the thing most people get wrong here is the expensive one. Now let me start with what Hormozi actually said, because it's the foundation for everything else. And that is to stop thinking in roles and start thinking in workflows. Now what he means is that any job in your business is really just a cluster of workflows that one person happens to be plugged into. The job title is almost irrelevant, and what actually matters is the sequence of steps that need to happen and who or what is responsible for each one. For example, an account manager isn't really an account manager. There's someone who runs the client onboarding workflow, the monthly reporting workflow, the renewal conversation workflow, and maybe 5 others. The role is just a label stuck on top, but the workflows are actually the work. And here's why that reframe matters so much. So here's how hiring usually plays out when you're still thinking in roles. The business gets busy, something breaks, a lead doesn't get followed up with, a client slips through the cracks, a project runs over the deadline, and the natural response is to hire. For example, we need a salesperson, we need an account manager, we need someone in operations. And look, sometimes that's right, but a lot of the time, what actually broke was a workflow, not a person being missing, a workflow being missing. And hiring a person into a broken workflow doesn't fix the workflow. It just means a human is now babysitting the chaos instead of you. And I've watched this happen over and over again. A business owner hires to soothe the feeling of overwhelm rather than solve a specific nameable gap. And 6 months later, the same problems are still there. They're just sitting on someone else's desk and the payroll went up. That's the expensive steak I mentioned, and thinking in workflows is the thing that actually prevents it. But here's where it gets interesting for a business owner thinking about AI. AI can't do a job. That's just the reality right now. You can't install an AI account manager and have it work the way a human works. But AI can absolutely own a specific step inside a workflow. And the moment you start thinking in workflows instead of roles, you can see exactly where those steps are. Take the client onboarding workflow. It might have 8 steps, and 2 of them, sending the welcome pack and pulling together the background information document, AI can handle that completely, every time without supervision. The other 6 might need a human, but those 2 steps running on AI just brought your account manager 2 hours every single week. And that's the whole thing. AI owns the step, but not the job. And if you haven't mapped the workflow, then you can't see the steps, which means you can't see where AI belongs. So you either skip it entirely or you try to automate something too big and it fails. I can show you what this looks like in practice because we've built this inside my own business. For example, inside Elite Systems AI right now, we have 21 active AI automations running. They've taken about 1,614 hours off my team's plate and saved about 240-ish grand in time cost. But not a single one of them is an AI employee in the sense of AI filling a role. Every one of them owns a specific step in a specific workflow. For example, the meeting notes automation owns one step. After every call, it pulls the transcript and it formats it into a follow-up draft that lands in Slack. And that's it. That's the whole workflow. One step does about 30 minutes of work removed per meeting. The daily briefing automation owns one step. Every morning at 6 a.m., it compiles the business snapshot and puts it in my inbox. That's one step. One used to take someone an hour of pulling data from different places, now just happens in 1 second. Or probably 1 minute, but you get the point. The lead follow-up automation owns one step. It watches for leads that haven't had a response within a set window and surfaces them before they go cold. None of these are glamorous, as you probably noticed. None of them are run the business. But across 21 workflows, they've removed 1,614 hours of work that used to sit on my team. That's the compounding effect, thinking in steps and workflows rather than roles. So here's the practical version of this, something you can do before your next hire. Pick one workflow in your business that keeps breaking. Write down every single step in the workflow in order and be specific, not something like handle client onboarding, but rather something like send the welcome email, book the kickoff call, build the context document, create the Slack channel, send the login credentials, and list out each action. Then for each step, ask one question. Does this require human judgment, or does it require consistent execution? Or in other words, does this need to happen repeatedly? Human judgment means making a call based on context. For example, reading a situation or deciding what the right response is. A consistent execution or a repetitive task means the same thing is done reliably every single time in the same way, regardless of who is doing it. The consistent execution steps are AI candidates. Map them, count them, and build those first, because those are the ones that you can actually reliably automate. And then you can take a look at what's left. You might find that the hire you were about to make is actually just a 2-week AI build, and it's a lot cheaper than a full-time salary. And to be clear, this doesn't mean that you should never hire someone. Some roles genuinely need a human and always will. Judgment, relationships, certain parts of strategic decision-making, and the things that require someone to actually think, those should stay human for a long time to come. But the reality is that thinking in workflows first changes the conversation completely. It makes you more precise about what a human actually needs to do. It shows you exactly where AI has earned its place, and it stops you from hiring to manage chaos that a well-built workflow will actually solve for you. So I 100% agree with Hormozi's frame. When you start seeing your business as workflows instead of org chart boxes, two things happen at once. You get sharper about what humans need to own, and you see where AI fits without having to guess. So before the next hire, draw the workflow first. Find the consistent, repetitive tasks and build AI there first, and then you see what's actually left. If this is how you want to think about building your business with AI, then subscribe, because I'm walking through exactly how we build these workflows inside real businesses on this channel. Anyway, guys, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you got value out of this and it shared a perspective on how you can approach your business that will actually help you leverage AI in an effective way rather than just trying to fill roles and scale your business with AI. So if you found this helpful, I'd love if you hit like and subscribe. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.